Bo, nobody called you over here.
Bo, go sit down.
All right, guys, we are back on the mics. Sorry, we got the dog here. He's kind of interrupting the set a little bit. Bo, get over there.
Go away, Bo.
So we had actually already recorded this episode, so we had to re-record it because somebody didn't like how it turned out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why we haven't released the podcast yet. We're just deciding to re-record it. So basically, that podcast, what we wanted to make it about is diet and what we choose to feed ourselves. And when I say diet, I don't mean something you do for a little bit, a 30-day diet or whatever. No, we're talking like what we decide to eat in terms of like lifestyle choices and like long-term, what our long-term play looks like. So, yeah.
Yeah. So we're just going to catch up a bit and share what we've been trying out and what's been working, what hasn't.
Yeah, and I think like this will really help people because I think the main thing I get is like people can figure out the working out part. And even then that has its own complications when you start to really get into it. But in terms of like getting results, it's kind of simple. Just doing the stuff consistently, you're going to get results. Yeah. But eating, it's like people can never figure that out. And they think like, man, I can't eat anything. Mm-hmm. There's stuff in everything. So we're going to clear that up for some people. I think we've gone pretty far into that whole realm. And I don't want to say we've cracked the code, but we've been eating pretty good and we've been able to sustain it, which is even better because we enjoy eating what we eat. And we've been able to feel good on this new change in food that we've been doing. And we've kind of already done it. It's just learning some things that has allowed us to be more intentional with what we put in our bodies. Yeah. And it all started, I'll let you guys in on a story. I was reading this book called The Maker's Diet. So obviously from the name, you think it's just another diet. But in reality, this book is basically about principles on how we should eat, how we should feed our bodies, principles that are found in the Bible. So if you're into faith, not a lot of people know this, but rules on how we should eat and what we should eat are actually given in Bible, given in the first texts that were introduced to man. So I feel like that's huge because it kind of lets us in on how our Maker designed us to eat, how he designed us to consume food and what foods to consume and in what form. And if you study ancestral living and how they ate back then, you'll really start to figure out why they ate what they ate. And for example, I've been incorporating a lot of organ meats into my diet, just given that back then our ancestors would eat everything. Mm-hmm. You know, organs were like a delicacy to them. Yeah. And when they would slaughter a cow, that would be the first thing they go to, the organs. And there's been a lot of research recently showing like the nutritional profiles of these organ meats are like off the charts. Like raw liver grosses a lot of people out, but as I've looked into it, it's got so many vitamins and minerals in such high amounts that, I mean, it beats any multivitamin, it beats any other food. Like people think kale is a superfood, but in reality, the stuff that doesn't get talked about enough is what's actually the good stuff.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you mentioned vitamins, I want to say something that I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
I haven't looked too much into it, but someone was talking about how in an x-ray they saw vitamin capsules like literally just floating in their like stomach.
Yeah.
Because they would take them like without food, and so they're not digesting, like they're not going anywhere. You're not getting any benefits from the vitamins because they're just floating there. So that was so interesting.
And I don't know, I feel like it's so common sense to me now that when people take vitamins, people don't realize that these vitamins a lot of times are in synthetic forms and you don't absorb them as you would vitamins found in naturally occurring foods or vitamins that are naturally occurring in foods. And a lot of these synthetic vitamins that you intake through capsules or what have you, powders, they get stored in the liver as toxins. And the supplement company is just a $1 billion industry. It's crazy how much money they bank off of us trying to buy the next vitamin that's going to solve our health issues. Like, it's never it. There's not going to be one vitamin. Yes, there's some good supplements out there like colostrum and obviously collagen and things like that. There's good ones out there, but you got to view it as what it is, a supplement. Like, it's never going to be something that's going to solve all your issues. So basically what this book talks about is eating everything in its natural and most purest form, and doing so for all the health benefits. So obviously the standard American diet is filled with such processed foods. Obviously we know this to be true, but in order to combat this, we got to look for foods that have one ingredient and that are not processed at all, that are in its natural state. We've gone away from a lot of things that our ancestors used to eat. Raw milk is one of them.
Yeah.
People hear me talk about raw milk and I'm like, ew, that's gross. But like pasteurized and homogenized milk is even more gross.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the color, you start to really study this stuff. You look at the color, it's just like bleach white milk from the store.
Yeah.
And you get raw milk from a farm and it's like a creamy color.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, that's how it was intended to drink. So if you start looking at our diet in terms of creation, like how are we created to eat? All these foods were put on this earth for us to consume. Back then they didn't have these processes of pasteurization and all that.
Yeah.
Obviously there's cows that have antibiotics and things like that, so you don't want to drink raw milk straight from them. That's kind of a lot of the reasons why they pasteurize it. But if you're eating quality grass-fed meat, grass-fed milk, like, I think you're going to be in a good spot. I don't think you have too much to worry about. And that's kind of what we've started to incorporate in our diet.
Yeah. And I will say, like, for anyone that does like cow milk, if you're already drinking the ones from the store, like, then you'll love the real milk. Because years ago, when I feel like it wasn't as how do I say it, like, when the milk in the grocery stores was still like more natural or on the cleaner side, I used to love it. Like, I would drink it like water, get thirsty, I'd reach for milk instead of water. Like, I loved milk. And then I fell under the, like, little trap of like, oh no, it's bad. Drink almond milk or drink oat milk, drink, like, you know, the other alternatives. And so I was drinking almond milk for like years, like maybe 2 years.
So was I. I mean, you remember.
Yeah, of course. We all fell for it. And we didn't even think twice to look at the ingredients of these alternative milks. We were just like, oh, it's healthy.
It's not cow
it's
milk.
from an almond. Or and and so I was drinking that for years. And when I finally tried to drink milk again, like cow milk from the store, I was like, ew, this is disgusting. It tasted so sweet. Like, and I was never able to find that old, like,
taste again, right?
Yeah, until we got raw milk, and I was like, well, this is how it used to be.
This is how it used to be. And a lot of people are concerned, well, is it safe to drink raw milk?
Yes.
Well, obviously it is, right? I mean, there's been plenty of studies done on it. I mean, these cows are obviously, if you're buying it from a farmer, most of the times are grass-fed cows. They're very well taken care of, and it's straight from the cow. Like, if this cow is not getting any antibiotics or hormones, then it's a product of nature. And I feel like anybody who does tolerate milk now at the stores, well, I don't think there's many. It's just going to be a huge, like, difference, right? Like, I couldn't tolerate milk anymore, just given that all the stuff they started adding, it caused bloating, it caused gas, and I just stopped drinking it. So I think that just made me think, well, this must not be good for me. But it wasn't the milk; it was the process in which the milk was brought to the
Yeah.
store, right? They pasteurize it, they
And
heat it up, kill all the
uh-huh.
bacteria. I mean, of course, it's not going to be good for us.
Yeah. And I was having this conversation earlier today with a coworker, because me and her were both like at the little coffee shop that's inside where I work. And they had just gotten a delivery of like some new cookies that like look healthy, you know, it'll say like gluten free, la la la, whatever. But then you turn and look at the ingredients and it's a bunch of crap, to where I'm like, well, you might as well eat the unhealthy version of this and actually enjoy it, because it doesn't even taste good to begin with. And I was like, oh, all this like want to be healthy food, but then you look at what's in it and it's not healthy. And my coworker was like, yeah, it's that whitewashed healthy, to where like, and by white, and she was white, by the way, like she's American,
Mhm.
but it like American white, I keep saying like American washed like healthy food, like even we would eat at all these places that are like advertised as healthy, only to find out that we've been deceived and we've been eating a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I think it's almost sometimes that food is even worse than the original or worse than
Yeah.
the alternative they're trying to replace it for. And that just tells you that this is all a scam. Like they're trying to bank off of you, trying to
Yeah.
give you all these alternatives when in reality they're just worse for you.
Yeah, because, like, for example, we'd eat kava or we'd eat Chipotle thinking it was the healthier option when we, like, don't have time to cook. And I would always feel so bloated after eating kava. And I would think to myself, like, why, if this is healthy? And I would think, like, oh, it's probably just because I ate a lot. But no, it's just everything that was in it was, like, inflaming my body.
Yeah. Yeah, all the different vegetables. We don't know if those vegetables were organic. Like we know vegetables nowadays are sprayed down with pesticides, herbicides, and those destroy your gut.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people fall victim to that, like, oh, but it says it's healthy. Like
Yeah.
you can't be that gullible just to think that something says it's
Yeah.
healthy and it's actually healthy. Like when you really start to look into all these things that claim to be healthy, 99% of them
Yeah.
are just about the opposite, right?
Yeah.
And
And
it's tough because, like I said, we had to learn all this by like experimentation and like researching this stuff. But like places like Cava, like we started finding out that they use seed oils in the way they cook their food. So that was
yeah.
what was causing us to have those kind of reactions. And like I
Yeah.
mentioned with the vegetables. So
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like, it's delicious. Like, that was one of our favorite spots. So we were very upset when we found out about it. And it just sucks that now we see that as like a cheat meal. Like, oh, well, let's go get this or let's go get that, when we feel like eating something that's not
yeah,
healthy.
so these healthy places have become
Our cheat meal.
our cheat meals, the ones that we enjoy. Obviously, we don't need Kevin anymore because, I mean, yeah, I just really, like, I
Yeah.
felt the deception on that one because I was eating it, like, so proudly. But, like, here's the practicality in this. It is so much more of a stretch now to eat healthy that it's just ridiculous. Like, you have to go out of your way if you truly want to be healthy. Like, people quoting or thinking that they're healthy, they're actually not. Like, you take a look at their diet, and I'll tell you right now, like, if somebody claims to be healthy, I can let you know if they're actually healthy. And that's not because, like, I know more than them, but it's just I've gone through the ringer. Like, I know,
Yeah.
like, all the lies and all the marketing that tries to get pushed on people trying to be healthy, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But the solution and the practicality to all this is not that hard. And it's why we kind of wanted to make this podcast to introduce what we've been doing. So basically, to make this real simple, going back to the idea of ancestral living and what our creator intended for us to eat, that's the best advice. So in our diet, we're consuming red meat, which pound for pound has the most bioavailable protein, is loaded with vitamins and minerals in high amounts. And obviously we're sourcing this from grass-fed, grass-finished cows, organic. that's a main staple. So whether that be in
Mhm.
ground beef form, steaks, etc., we're doing raw milk, so raw dairy, so dairy
Mhm.
in its most natural forms. We were both had like lactose issues when we would drink milk, drink raw milk and raw kefir, which is like a yogurt, no problems.
Mhm.
So meat, yogurt, raw honey as a form of carbs, all fruit for carbs as well. So we rotate out our fruits for what's in season.
Mhm.
Organ meats as well. We're starting to incorporate. So I'm gonna get her on the capsule, on like
Yeah.
the freeze dried version of it, because it is tough to get over it. But I mean, I've gotten over it. Um, it's hard to bear for some people.
Mhm.
So organ meats, red meat, raw dairy, which also includes raw cheeses, fruit for our carbs, honey for our carbs, and that's pretty much it. Like it's been that,
Yeah.
and eggs, right?
Mhm.
It's been just a absolute game changer because these are all one ingredient things.
Mhm.
Very simple, super natural, un unprocessed state of foods, and it's been an absolute game changer. And it's not
Yeah.
hard. Like once you get the hang of it, you'll really start to enjoy and start to see like, wow, this is how we're supposed to eat. You know?
Mhm. Yeah. And I mean, I will like I guess give a disclaimer like obviously like if you have something that works for you, then like keep doing that. But if you are in a place where you're like looking for something new to try,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can go wrong in trying this. Like if it's not for you, then okay, you tried it. Like I don't think anything's going to happen to you cuz it is like a very basic like meal plan or diet, a basic diet that I only see like people benefiting from it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, red meat
But
has been vilified for so long as being bad for you, but like nobody stops to think, well, look at who's given us advice and how has that went for us in the past, like trusting CDC's advice and organizations like that. Like you're really gonna trust them on everything they say. Like think twice when they say something. They said red meat is bad for you. What is it really bad for you? Well, if you look into it, you see that it's actually one of the best forms of meat to consume.
yeah.
Like chicken, I don't even eat that much chicken. I do sometimes, but I'm aware of the fact that chicken is just a very low quality meat. And 99% of chicken, the way it's processed, it's pretty much like you're not consuming any nutrients. Like
Mhm.
it's just straight up protein. Like there's no nutrients in it, just given how they process it, especially in America. Like a lot of other countries have banned American chicken. Like it's just the
Yeah.
way these chickens are treated. Like we've seen all the videos, everybody's seen it. Like it's really tough to get a hold of a chicken that's been organic, pasture raised, and grass fed. You
Mhm.
know, eating bugs, eating stuff in the grass that's actually natural. Like it's hard to
Mhm.
find that. There's a few companies that do it, but that's why we stuck to the beef,
Yeah.
and it's worked out. Like I'm not saying you can't eat anything else, but like if you make that the centerpiece of your diet, then a lot of stuff is going to work out, and then you can implement other stuff if it works for you
Yeah.
to see if you can do well adding other stuff. Because like I've pretty much eliminated most, if not all, vegetables, just given that, not saying vegetables are necessarily bad for you, but a lot of the vegetables that we're consuming, it's just tough to find stuff that's not sprayed down with pesticides, and we've already
Mhm.
talked about how that destroys your gut. So like
Yeah.
I decided not even to mess with them, you know, like kale, spinach, all that stuff. I thought it was super healthy for you, but
Yeah.
in reality there's so many what they call phytochemicals in them. It's like plant defense chemicals, which plants have in order to ensure that they can survive another generation. Like plants have these mechanisms
Mhm.
to allow them to protect themselves from predators and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that's something that we don't realize. That's not to say all vegetables are bad, or some
Yeah.
people may be able to tolerate them, but it's just like I would say just start simple. Start adding things if you can bear it, if your stomach is okay with it, then so be it.
Yeah.
But
And obviously like we still like other foods that aren't good for us and every now and then we'll be like, "Oh, let's go get this." But we're like making that choice. Like we're conscious of what we're doing, and that's why we, for the most part, like try to eat healthy so that we can enjoy that every now and then. And
Yeah,
like we
of
still
course.
enjoy food. Obviously, I love food. Like we get ice cream.
Oh heck
I
yeah.
love ice cream.
But
A
what would
good
you say?
recommendation.
Like 80% of our diet is that, right? Like,
Yeah, and that's why obviously like I just want to make it clear that we believe in balance, and that doesn't mean we don't enjoy the food that we're eating on a daily
yeah.
basis.
I mean, we had tacos the other day. Like,
And yeah, like we
enjoyed them
still,
too. You know.
yeah, like I mean, just make good choices,
Yeah,
you
make
know,
good
for the most
choices.
part. And that doesn't mean don't eat out, don't get dessert. Like, still do that, but like have most of your diet be healthy to where when you do eat that, it's not gonna affect you.
Yeah, and I think it just the main piece is being conscious of your choices. Like we make the conscious choice of having that cheat meal, knowing what's in it. You know, a lot of people do it blindly, and they'll try to eat the healthy food unconsciously, not knowing that it's actually bad for them. So the more you know, the better decisions you're able to make. Like your risk reward. Like, okay, I've eaten 80% clean this week. Like, I think
Yeah.
if we want a cheat meal, if we want some tacos, then it's fine.
Mhm.
You know?
And this is not to shame anyone or like shame other diets. It's just what we've been learning, what we've been trying out, and we've been trying it like for our health. I mean, my motives are that I have like a hormone imbalance and I'm trying to do everything that I can. That's like in my control because there's a lot that I can't control. So whatever I can, I'm going to try to really give my 100% to that.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people are struggling with hormonal imbalances. Like just look
Yeah.
at all the rates of infertility and stuff like that in men and women. And I think diet is a big one that we can control. Like we'll get into in later episodes like environmental toxins and personal care products and all that stuff. All of our daily practices
Yeah.
that affect our hormones, but I feel like if you eat good quality food, you're going to already put yourself in a good spot. Like you're going to make the processes in the body better, the processes that are responsible for clearing out toxins and stuff. The better you're feeding the engine, the better it's going to run, the better it's going to be able to excrete the toxins that sometimes are not controllable, like from the environment. Like we can't control the pollution and all that different stuff. So starting out with food would be a good thing. So meat, organs, honey, raw dairy, eggs, like has been a game changer. Like have not felt great. Have not felt better on this kind of style of eating. And it makes sense. It makes the most sense out of all the other diets I looked into.
Yeah.
Because carbs from fruit, it's so clean. Like you can never eat enough fruit.
Yeah.
Like the sugar in it, they say it's bad for you, but you really can't get enough of it. Like it's not gonna harm you.
Yeah. And it's not like people aren't consuming sugar because all these energy drinks, all these like protein snacks. Like for example, the cookie that I was talking about, they looked at the back because they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat this," and then they looked at the back and they're like, "Never mind, it has 23 grams of sugar." That one cookie.
Yeah, and it's different kind of sugar. That's what people don't realize.
Yeah.
It's refined, ultra processed sugar. The sugar found in fruit does not give you that blood sugar spike. Like it's a different sugar. So, like when I changed my only form of carbs being, well, not my only form, but the main source of my carbs being fruit, like just changing it out, like I just have so much more energy now. And when I need a boost, I'll just literally, you guys saw my video, like literally get a spoonful of honey, just down that, like just clean energy, clean food. So that's kind of where we want to wrap up the podcast. I think that was a great insight for people who want to eat healthy. Like she said, we're not trying to shame anybody. that just wants to enjoy their life and eat however they want. But this is for the
Yeah.
individual who wants to optimize their health and wants to eat better and wants to
Yeah.
lift the veil
Mm-hmm.
off of all the misleading
Yeah.
information out there. Like,
because I've been there.
we've been
That's
there.
why I don't shame anyone, because I've been there. I'm on social media. Like, obviously, I'll see things and they start getting into your head.
Yep.
And you start like, oh, well, everyone's doing this.
Oh, you got to dig deeper. You got to dig deeper.
So-
So my takeaway message is throw away your damn almond milk, oat milk, soy milk.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to close it out there. I really enjoyed this one. I hope it helps somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's one person. This needs to be something that people start to be aware of. So
Yeah.
we'll close it out there.
All right.
Till next time, guys.
Thank
Peace.
you. Bye.